Hello friends, welcome back to Three Barrow Farm. My name is Amy. For those who are new here, welcome to all the new subscribers. I'm so glad you've chosen to join us here. So today's video is all about onions. So I made 2 onion harvests over the past few weeks, and one of them is still drying here inside our house. The other one I have tallied up the amount that we harvested, and it is all in our food store now, which is really exciting. So this video is all about the onions that we harvested recently. I hope you enjoy, and I will see you again for another video soon. Some of the onions from the seed I planted back in March were starting to go to seed. I noticed a couple in each of the patches that had put up seed heads, so I decided it was time to assist them in being ready for harvest. The onion varieties I planted were Australian brown onion and cream gold onion. Usually you'd wait until the tops of the onions have dried off and collapsed before harvesting them. You want the leaves to bend over and start going brown. I assisted them in this process by pushing the stems over myself. The necks of the onions get squished, and it prompts the plants to stop putting fresh leaves out. This doesn't always work for the seed heads they put out. You can cut those off if you like, but I was going to harvest in the next few days, so I just left the seed heads on. I just wanted to let the plants know that I was ready to harvest them by bending over the stems. Even though some of these onions are small, I'm going to harvest them. As soon as a couple of onions start putting their seed heads out, I know that I could lose the whole crop if I'm not speedy with my harvest. These small ones aren't going to grow bigger, they will only follow the others and set seed as well. Waiting for a crop to be the right size, like what you see in the supermarket, isn't always the indicator of a crop being ready. Reasons for crops not being big enough might be the lack of water supply, the soil conditions, or the timing of planting. Also, if you're planting from seedlings from a nursery, how old the seedlings are will also be a reason. Vegetable plants have a lifespan. They want to grow fast and then be harvested. If the punnets of seedlings were sown a month or more ago, then that time is taken off the plant's life expectancy. You want them to grow fast once you've planted them, or they might set seed instead of becoming a decent size to harvest. Or the plant won't get big enough. It might be stunted and you won't get anything from the plant. I always tell people that vegetables want to grow fast. They want to grow up, they want to set fruit, and then they want to be harvested. I've been growing many different medicinal plants this year. Dandelion and nettle live in this part of my garden. I'm saving the seed to grow more dandelions. We don't have a lot of true dandelions growing in our garden. We have a lot of the cat's ear though, which is often mistaken for dandelion. I've been picking the young leaves and putting them in salads. Dandelions are packed full of vitamins and minerals. They are more nutritionally dense than kale and spinach. In particular, they are filled with vitamins A, C, and K, folate, calcium, and potassium. The calendula are making seed. I will collect some when it's dried and let some fall to the ground naturally to spread their seed. I'm still harvesting and drying calendula for teas and to make calendula balm so we can have it on hand all year for bites, stings, dry skin and other skin problems. The potatoes are getting bigger, which is super exciting as I've been waiting to eat our own instead of purchasing more from the vegetable shop. It's another day and I'm ready to harvest the onions. They haven't browned off in this time and I wouldn't expect them to, but they should dry well. Once I've cleared a patch, I plant seed or seedlings straight away. Here I'm making furrows by hand so that I can plant carrot, dill, chive and lettuce seeds.
I need to go to the sheep now.
I lay the onions out on the ground to dry a bit longer in the sun. I'm doing something new here that I started in early spring. I'm putting seed raising mix on top of my direct planted seeds. It's worked really well with my carrot seeds this year. My soil is quite dense in parts of my garden as I've added lots of cow manure. So using the seed raising mix is lighter and easier for the seeds to germinate through. I'll water in these seeds every day, twice a day until they germinate, and then I'll back off to about once a day and eventually only water through the irrigation pipes. This soil here is a bit wetter than the last patch I harvested. I'm using the fork and then I should be able to pull the bulbs out easily. Unfortunately, it started raining this day, so I had to madly bring in the onions, and they didn't get as long as I would have liked outside to get dry. However, they have mostly turned out fine. There have been a lot of thunderstorms here this late spring moving into summer. I hung the onions on a clothes drying rack to dry, and it worked reasonably well. Some of the onions kept falling down onto the ground though. So then I added some racks, you know those drying racks that you put cookies on after you've pulled the cookies out of the oven? They worked really well, just being put on top of this clothes drying rack, and they dried really evenly and they stopped falling down. 2 weeks later and the onions have fully dried and I've plaited them into bunches. Before plaiting them, I clean off the rest of the dry dirt and cut off the roots. Some of the stems broke off a few of the onions and others weren't drying off well enough, so I cut the stems off. These will be used first in our cooking. There was one random red onion in my harvest. There must have been a red onion seed in the brown onion seed bag. I harvested close to 7 kilos on this day, and there was still more onions out in the patch due to the rain coming. I wasn't able to harvest them all because I didn't want to, start harvesting them in the wet. And I'm pretty happy with this harvest, even though there were a lot of smaller sized onions. There were some very decent sized onions in this collection. So overall, I'm really happy with the harvest, and I think they're going to store quite well. Thank you so much for watching my onion video. I hope that my tips and tricks here help you, and I'd love to hear any tips and tricks you have for growing onions. Please let me know in the comments below. See you next time, friends.